For today's video, we are starting a new unit and we are talking about area of parallelograms. So our learning target today is I can find the area of parallelograms. Please write down the date that you're watching this video. Write down what you already know about this. So we already know what parallelograms are from our unit where we talked about quadrilaterals and polygons. So you can write that. We have one vocabulary word today, which is parallelogram. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral with two pairs of parallel sides. And then in the vocabulary section, even though it's not necessarily vocabulary, I did write down the formula for the area of a parallelogram. The area of a parallelogram is the base times the height, which can also be written as b times h. So pause the video here, please get all of that written down, and then restart when you're ready to go. So a few things that I want to point out looking at this picture. I drew up here a picture of a parallelogram, and I want to make sure that you guys notice a few things. One thing that's really important is that when we're finding the area of a parallelogram, the base and the height must form a right angle. So here you can see that I have a base that is one side, and then I have the height. And the height is not actually one of the sides of the parallelogram. The height is a random dotted line in the middle that forms this right angle with the base. And that is the really, really important thing. The height and the base have to form a right angle. Another common thing to do is sometimes people will draw the height out here and they'll say, okay, I'll draw a height and it's still going to be the distance between the top and bottom lines and form a right angle. But I'm actually going to draw it out there. And the height drawn on the outside or the height drawn on the inside, those are the exact same distance. The really important thing is that they have to have that right angle. The line here that's not at a right angle is not the same distance as the height. Those are different lengths lines. And if you use the angled line, you're going to get the wrong answer. So really, really, really important. When you use your height and your base, they have to form a right angle. And your height and your base, this can look kind of funny. I mean, you might find a parallelogram that is turned kind of funny, where you have a height that's like that and a base like that. That's okay. What you're going to be looking for every time is for that right angle, for that little square. As long as you have that little square, the two numbers that form the sides that make that square, that right angle, those are going to be the two sides that you multiply. And then all you have to do is multiply and you have a right angle. So I will show you how we do this. So if we have a parallelogram, so let's say we had a parallelogram. And when we have a parallelogram, remember the important thing, we have two pairs of parallel sides. So if the top and bottom are parallel to each other, then the two sides have to be parallel to each other as well. So I could tell you that this side is 10 centimeters, and then I could give you this line right here and tell you that this is 6 centimeters. And then to find the area is the base times the height. So that would just be 10 times 6, which is 60 centimeters squared. I could also give you one that looked like this. Again, I have my parallelogram. The top and bottom are parallel to the two sides. But this time I could say, okay, here's 9.3 meters. And I could give you a line that looks like this on the side with that square there and call that 7 meters. This time, again, this dotted line over here and this side length here, those are the ones that form a right angle. So for my area, I would do 7 times 9.3. Doing that on my calculator, I get 65.1 meters squared. couple other types of problems that you might be given. The first one could say, okay, what if I tell you that I have a parallelogram? Here's my parallelogram. And I tell you that my parallelogram has an area of 56 inches squared. And then I tell you that this height right here is 8 inches. And then I tell you that the base is x. And I asked you to figure out what x right here was. Pause the video here, see if you can figure out what the base x is, and then restart when you have an answer. So looking at this, I know that the area equals the base times the height. We know that the area is 56. We know that the height is 8, and then the base is x. So I know that 56 equals x times 8. So to work backwards, I'm just going to divide by 8 on either side. And I get that 56 divided by 8 equals 7. So that's my unknown. So my unknown is 7 inches. So I could also use the area formula for parallelograms to work backwards and find a missing side length. The last type of problem I need to be able to do is to be able to find the perimeter and area. So let's say we were given a parallelogram. And I told you that this side was 9 millimeters. And this side was 7 millimeters. And then this side, or this measurement, was 5 millimeters. And it has that square there. And then I asked you to find both the perimeter and the area. So pause here and see if you can find both those measurements for this parallelogram, and then restart when you have your answers. All right, so I know that to find the perimeter and the area, that those are different things. The perimeter is the distance around the sides. So for the perimeter, I find this length plus that length plus that length plus that length. Well, I know that the top and the bottom are both 9, so I would do 9 plus 9. And each of the sides are 7, so plus 7 plus 7. If I add that all up on my calculator, I get that is 32 millimeters. Now for the area is the base times the height, remembering that I need that right angle. Now looking at this, I see that the two sides which form a right angle, well, here's my right angle. So that's going to be this and this. Those two sides are 9 and 5. I don't use that 7 for the area because it's not part of the right angle. So for my area, I do 9 times 5, which is 45 millimeters squared. That's it for area of a parallelogram. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much and have a great day.